York's classic rock. Q1043.
Welcome back, Jonathan Clark here on Q1043's Out of the Box. We are honored and very happy to be joined in the studio by Dan Smith of Bastille. How are you, man?
I'm really good, thanks. It's awesome to be in New York and excited to have a new song in the world.
Let's get into that. First time in New York City, was there something you had to do right away?
Oh, that's the first time we ever came here. We were making a music video for one of our songs called Flaws, and we made it on Coney Island. Which was awesome. So I was just like, it was one of my first times in the States. I was like wide-eyed, super excited to be here. Went to a place called the Meatball Shop.
Oh, that place rules.
Which has now become like a bit of a religion. Every time we come here, we have to go and pay homage at the Meatball Shop. But like, I don't know, just walking around, walking the streets here, for me, I always feel like I'm in a movie. Like
that's what everyone from, admittedly, especially England, says.
Probably quite a boring movie because I'm in it. But like,
come on.
But it's just, I don't know, everything about it. I know it sounds ridiculous, but like the architecture and the sidewalks and the fire hydrants, and like last night we were walking home from the Arctic Monkey show, and the just having the sort of like steam coming out of the manholes and looking up and seeing.
It's like, wait, I'm in Law and Order right now.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Well, did you have a hot dog when you were on Coney Island shooting that video?
You know what I tried? What is it? It's kind of like a sausage on a stick.
Oh yeah, those two, yeah.
Yeah, I tried
corn dog, sausage, corn dogs, yeah.
Which we don't have that in England. So I was like, I'm having a corn dog, and everyone was like, that's disgusting. And I was like, it's the massive novelty. This is amazing.
You need to open your own food truck.
Yes.
You absolutely need to do. Well, let's talk about this new song, Quarter Past Midnight. It's from a forthcoming album. How long did it take for you guys to put this together? Was it something that you had the lyrics or music for back on the never-ending tour that you did over the last 2 years?
So I about half the record was written. You know, we stopped touring in kind of November last year.
Yeah.
And I'd had a whole load of stuff that was sort of had been done and started and produced. And then after we stopped, I took a kind of week and a half to gather all the ideas that I'd had. Like, because I sing a lot of stuff into my phone, which is quite embarrassing. So I was like, in social situations, I was sort of like.
But a lot of songwriters do that, though. Yeah, it seems really helpful.
I think, it is. It's because, you know, I don't know what it's like for other people, but for me, stuff just pops into my head.
Right,
like,
yeah.
And it's really just a case of like, I either sing this into my phone or this goes away into the ether and I never find it again. So
it's like a dream, right?
Yeah,
like if you don't write down the dream that you really want to remember, it's gone.
It's gone, exactly. Yeah. So that's how it works for me. And then, but it's really the sort of like more boring discipline side of it is then finding the time to sit down like at a piano, listen back through the notes, and it's kind of like there's a weird mix of it being like quite boring and administrative because you're going through stuff, but then also you're like, oh, I love that. You self-edit, stuff jumps out, and that's often with me like the sort of genesis of songs. Like sometimes they come whole, but sometimes it's like these little scraps on the phone. And so I gave myself a week and a half at the end of last year to do that, to sit in a studio and just go through it. And about, you know, in the space of that week, about sort of 8 or 9 new songs came out of it, and a bunch of them are on the record, including this one. And I remember that kind of, I was really stuck on the chorus, and I was sort of like pacing up and down the studio, and then it just came into my head, and I was like, this is it.
Quarter past midnight.
Yeah, and it's the kind of opening track from the record. It sets the tone. It's that trying to capture that like that fun, like the sort of the seeking of euphoria and of escapism and of like running into the night and not really knowing what's going to happen next, and kind of not caring, and that slightly like self-destructive but thing
yes.
that
I can relate. Yeah.
But I just wanted to capture that like that feeling of excitement, like, no, the night is not over, it's just starting now.
Right,
and, and I hope that we have, but yeah.
Well, especially if you're in New York City, quarter past midnight, you got at least 4 more hours.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah, that's the point. And the whole album is kind of, it starts at quarter past midnight and it's set.
Well, I think it's great that, you know, and I heard this song, and it really sounds like, and it's good for you to know, and you guys know this already, but Bastille has their own signature sound. You know, and with this song, it really kind of continues that sound, and I think that's fantastic. A lot of bands try to develop their own signature sound, and they don't succeed, but you guys have, and I think that's great. So, as a band, as a successful band, you get to do really amazing, cool things. You get to go tour cool places, but not many bands get to ski to a gig. And I heard this, I think you told me this story briefly the other night, but tell me, just really quickly, you were in Switzerland. Like, what happened?
The whole thing was crazy. We just done 2 weeks of a tour with an orchestra and a gospel choir, which in itself was
amazing.
Was insane. So we'd had these crazy 2 weeks, and particularly when you're touring Europe, like, you know, every different day you're in a different country. So we'd gone from like Germany, and then suddenly we ended in Switzerland, and we did this gig on this beautiful lake. And it was the last show, so we had this big night saying goodbye to all the musicians. These 2 tour buses of singers and strings players and brass players, they all left and went home. And then the 5 of us, having played with this huge ensemble for 2 weeks, 5 of us were like, oh, we've got one more gig and it's just us. This is going to feel pretty empty. But the gig was a kind of lunchtime gig to celebrate the end of the skiing season on a mountain on the border of Austria and Switzerland. So we went up to this skiing town, had this night in this, you know, in the mountains, and then the next morning, sort of after probably half an hour's sleep, got up, went and did a couple of hours skiing, and then skied.
I'm shocked. I tell you, to hear that. You got a half an hour's sleep. But hey, go on.
But it was, and it was definitely the most sleep deprived and hungover I've ever been on the ski slopes, because I'm a terrible skier, but I do love it. Like, it's just really fun flying.
And let's clarify, you are a skier, you're not a snowboarder.
Yeah, no,
okay.
I tried snowboarding, and my knees and backside weren't huge fans of like being fallen on.
Yeah.
There's some good language there. I did an English degree. Well done.
Okay, so half hour sleep. You get on the skis, you strap on the boards, and you go skiing.
Yes, yeah.
Like for a couple hours before.
Yeah. We were like, we were only there for the day. We were like, we can't not do this. And it was
how can you not ski? Like in Switzerland or Austria?
It was really beautiful. And then literally skied down to the stage, got changed out of my embarrassing neon ski outfit, and then did a show, which was kind of crazy to all these skiers who'd stopped for a couple of hours and was, you know, having their kind of lunchtime beers. It was pretty surreal.
You showed me a photo. The sky was so blue, it was purple.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. Felt very lucky. It was a pretty surreal couple of weeks. Also, bearing in mind, we've not played gigs in sort of 6 months. We've been on a break to make this record. Yeah. So what a mad way to go to sort of like crash land back into the world of
And I think
touring.
the skiing may have just gotten rid of the hangover, you know?
I mean, I wish I could say that it did.
Oh, wow. Okay, all right. Yeah. I gotcha.
I was like, I'm sure the mountain air will cure it. No, it's not curing
not
it.
working.
Yeah.
His name is Dan Smith, the band Bastille, of course. The new song, Quarter Past Midnight, we're going to play it right now. There's a new album coming soon, and we look forward to another New York City show, man. Great to see you. And,
really good to see you, man. Thank you.
Be careful skiing and gigging and all that. And we love you in New York, man. Thank you,
man. Thanks for having me.
New York's classic rock, Q1043.